Hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, actually. Good evening, good afternoon. Um, I guess good morning, whenever you are. This video is going to be the longest because I'm gonna be giving a story. But it's marking. There we go, perfect. It's marking another day in Washington D.C. Like I always promised, is to give updates every single day until forever. I was watching my videos back in my first video that I filmed in August 11, and it amazed me how I have changed. And these transitions, these transformations cannot be observed until you actually watch, you see yourself grow like this. Making videos have improved me, have given me communication skills, confidence, and it has helped me sort of have a discussion. I always have something to say with people whenever I meet people. So it's been a wonderful thing to do. It's a good experience. If I can talk to somebody, if I can talk in a camera like this for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, I can give a speech in public. I can talk to someone for hours, and I always have something to say every single time. And because of how I speak in the camera, it makes people really amazed when they're talking to me. So it's been a privilege. I mean, I used to be a conversationalist before, but now it's getting better and better, you know. And this video is a very authentic. There is no editing. I have free Adobe Creative code for Audio, but I'm not using it to like create visuals and sort of like fancy stuff. I just want this to be like me, right? Being who I am. Anyways, today again it's November 9, November 8. I actually don't know. I just woke up. I have no idea. But anyways, it's November 9. Let me check my phone actually. Yes, it's November 8th. And if you're wondering why I cannot remember like the days, especially in November, it's because it feels so good. It's 4, so I've been falling asleep. Like what 4 says, I've been really sleeping like a lot, right? I come home and boom, I'm in the bed. You don't see that often. I don't know if it's because of my room, or if it's because I'm peaceful that I have my own apartment, or it's because maybe that's how photo works. Because I've lived in North Carolina for a while. North Carolina does get really windy, gets humidity, it also it gets rainy all the time. Then of course I lived in California where it gets pretty hot. Like right now, I have pictures and Google Photo does gives me like a reminder, and I've been getting reminders from 2022, 2021, 2020 when I was hiking in California at this time. So this is a time that I will be hiking, and guess what? This time California is hot, like really hot. So, anyways, I just been sleeping. I guess the weather here in Washington D.C. is pretty fantastic. You go out, it's not humidity, it's not too cold, it's not too hot, just normal temperature. So it's been amazing that I can sleep during the day. For the first time I've been in this country. Normally when I sleep during the day, it's because I'm sick. Right now I sleep because it just feels good, because usually when I can't sleep, I just go out and I walk outside or go to party. So anyway, today I was invited for one of the celebrations in Frederick. Last time I was in Frederick, last couple of weeks, I was in Frederick and I had a wonderful time. and then today I was supposed to go there as well. But that was before I moved to this apartment. Now that I'm in this apartment, I did not go. Like I slept in the afternoon. I was supposed to leave about 12 o'clock and drive there. And then I was supposed to get there about 3:30. But then I woke up at 1 o'clock and I was still sleepy. I couldn't wake up. I just didn't feel like leaving, and I went back to bed and just woke up right now. So it's not worth it to drive there. It's an hour and a half, something like that. So it's too far. And the more you delay, the more traffic it gets. It gets really traffic. And in Washington, Baltimore highway. So, anyways, so I did not go. I missed it. To people invited me for the pickleball games and groups. I'm part of the group. I did not show up. I apologize for that. People who are going to see this video. Anyways, moving on to Washington DC, because it's why I'm here. It's why I live here. I came here to sort of document, but also observe how our beautiful government handles the constitutions, how they pass the laws that come to govern us. Right? I'm living the moment. I'm living the dream. I like living here because I can get to observe the actual U.S. government playing around. I can see the people making decisions all around me. So that being said, on November 8th, as I speak, the U.S. government is still shutting down. And just to know that last week, on November 5th, the U.S. government marked one of the longest shutdown in history. And I was looking up the longest shutdown. The last one was in 2018, late 2018, early 2019. Of course, Donald Trump was the president, and the government got shut down for 35 days. And on November 5th this year, we have been shut down for 36 days, which makes it the longest shutdown. That being said, if today is November 8th, and we've been shutting down, that means we are in our 40s. So it's been 40 days since the US government shut down. Now remember, 2018, 2019, I was in the United States. At the time, I was in North Carolina. Now at the time also, I just graduated. I was 1 year after high school, and I heard people saying that the government employees, they need the food stamp, they need food, they need help because they were not getting paid. They were laid off. So I did not think much, but I was trying to think like, how does that happen? How does the government shuts down? How does this go? Like, do they just like destroy the building? Like, just that? How does that mean? Like, we don't get taught these things in school. Actually, the longest president shut down many times was Jimmy Carter. I just looked it up on the internet. He had many shutdowns, but he doesn't have the record of the longest shutdown. The record were created by the Clinton. Clinton had the longest shutdown. I think the longest was 21 days, and then Barack Obama has the longest shutdown as well, and then others they're like back in 40s. But Trump makes the highest long shutdown in history, with 35 days in his first term, and now it's like almost 40 days in his second term. The main problem that they're trying to argue is healthcare subsidies. This is why CEOs are coming to DC to sort of fix the problem. If you remember, who's watching this video, you can go back and check it out. I was in North Carolina when I was coming back to Charlotte, when I was coming from Charlotte to DC. That was back in September. I think it was in August. when I was coming back to DC, I made a video about healthcare, made a video about Medicare issues in other states, how people are sick, right? Especially people who live in neighborhoods that don't necessarily accommodate people with good healthy environment. Here in DC, as you can already see, I have no options. I have an option of using a bike, an option of driving, an option of taking a bus, taking a metro, and an option of just simply use my own legs and walk to any major shopping center. Like I drove to, I can see my video that I haven't watched that video, but the video that I filmed when I was in Columbia Heights, I parked far away and I walked to store. You don't think about it, but that walking adds on my healthy. My Apple Watch says I'm walking 5,000 steps per day. I'm supposed to walk that, but I walk like double that. I walk like 10,000 steps. Some people in this country, they can't even walk like 100 steps per day. That's a concern because humans are meant to walk. They're meant to have their body move, right? That's how they used to be. Like we are born to move. These machines, they're here to help us finish our tasks much faster. But we should be able to, once in a while, not always, but once in a while, take some time and take a walk. Do the things that you're supposed to be doing, right? If we did have these machines, but of course, like you already expected, many people who live in some neighborhoods, they don't have a chance to go for a walk, so they get diseases like diabetics, diseases like overweight, and that increases the high cost of healthcare. Some people have heart attack, some people have blood pressure, and these problems, when people get sick, they go to the hospital, and the hospital is expensive, right? Like American hospitals, they are advanced, they are great, doctors are educated, smart, they take care of you, right? But once you get better, you start to regret for surviving. You wish you could have died so you can just disappear. Why? Because once you survive, they give you a huge bill that you have to pay. So the reason why in United States is so expensive, the healthcare is so expensive, is because of the privatization. Pharmacies spend a lot of money researching their own money. So when a doctor goes to school and study, and they take a bunch of student loans, $1 million student loans, whatever they get, they have to research. They start research for medicine, cancer medicine, diabetic medicine, any kind of medicine. And then to research, they need to get some money. They need the hands-on money. And then they start asking the investors, because the government, in order to approve any specific amount of money, it has to go through this huge mess, the shutdown. And also the government comes with obligations, like I give you the money, you do this. I give you the money, you vote for me. We see this under Donald Trump, and even other Democrats too. Like, hey, if I give you the money, you got to be pro LGBTQ, you have to be pro this. And then the Republicans are like, oh, if we give you the money from our government, you gotta be able to do this and that. So every single dollar comes with a string attached to it from the government. It depends on who's in power, of course. But we don't see this in we do see this. We don't see this in the private investments. So private companies, mostly the investors, they will give you money, and you do you. In fact, a lot of corporations, when they receive money from the investors, they do what they call dilution. Not dilution, but dilution. They dilute things. So they start manufacturing so many things like in a large scale, and then that's why when you see an advertisements for any medicine, they always have side effects. Take this, you have a side effects. Take this, you have a side effects, and those side effects are real. They do happen. They do take place. That's because if you are producing, if you are a pharmacist and you produce, let's say, medicine, you manufacture medicine. If it's a drug company that makes medicine, and you produce medicine, let's say skin medicine or skin cancer medicine, and then you discover something, and then you start producing, start manufacturing. You have to manufacture like thousands, like billions of products, right? Like supply high number, and then you have to have somebody to do quality control. So you cannot do quality control for over 1 million products accurately. So 9 out of 10 of what goes to people out there is going to have side effects. And when you can distribute 1 billion worth of products to customer, medicine to customer, and then if customers can get medicine, they can get a cure, give you good rating, give you good feedback. But if one person gets sick or even tragically dies, the company will get sued, and every single dollar they have earned will be gone. So manufacturing companies not only do they have to spend money developing drugs, spend money manufacturing, but they also have to spend money on lawyers and attorneys to write those policies, those disclaimers. And when somebody gets sick and they die, the drugstores, they have to hire an expensive lawyer, an expensive attorney, or they have to hire like big attorney companies to start fighting the case, right? Which takes months, years, money gone, money spent, and then they also have to spend money on having savings for legal purposes, right? Or they have to spend money on robbing, so they rob the government. So this, why is my sister saving me money? Okay. Anyway, so all of this creates a huge expenses around our healthcare. Our health becomes the commodity for these corporations, and then the government, when the politicians in the states are running for the government, people ask them, can you fix the healthcare issues? And the first thing they say is, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna squeeze the pharmacist, we're gonna squeeze manufacturing, we're gonna make it super cheaper so that everybody can have access to healthcare. Just they promise this to the American people. And then when they become president, it's not as easy, because as soon as you become a president, then you hit on these drug manufacturing companies, pharmacists, private hospitals. Hey, can you reduce the fees on drug? Can you reduce the prices on drug prices, especially insulin, which is part of the diabetics, what I mentioned. you need an insulin to survive. And people with diabetics tend to be people who are rich, right? And it's expensive. So when politicians hit on these drug manufacturing companies, what these drug stores do or pharmacists do, they bring the receipt, they bring the bill and say, hey, here's what we are spending. So we are spending this money, we got the money from the investors, we have to make a profit for the investors, right? So there's a pushback. They also will say, okay, you guys say we reduce the price of drugs, but we're getting a lot of lawsuits. We are getting a lot of, laws and regulations around our drug manufacturing. So this industry is the most regulated industry. Like if you have to rank the most regulated industries, the first one is drug manufacturing companies, followed by food manufacturing, followed by financial companies. Then of course tech is like the last one. Real estate comes in like in the middle, but technology is like the last one. Technology is not really super regulated as much. Of course, there's like natural resources, all kind of things, but drugs are at the top. Why? Because people are not. You can't just assume people are going to be nice and make good medicine, right? Especially with the investors involved in it. It's easy to make medicine to kill people, so they have to be super regulated. But anyways, that being said, when Trump became a president this year, he realized that people who voted for him are the ones struggling with Medicare. They're the ones struggling with diabetics. They're the ones who are sick. However, people who voted for Trump, they tend to think that they think that people who don't receive benefits that include this food stamp, they are Democrats, because these Democrats live in a city. Cities have highest homeless population. Places like Los Angeles, New York City, Washington D.C., right? Places like Seattle, Washington, San Francisco, they have the highest homeless population. So the cities have to spend money. They have to tax people, spend that money to help the homeless people because they need to survive. And the cities that have the lowest homeless people, they tend to be the most poorest cities. So these cities tend to be in the south, where they get the most votes where people vote for Donald Trump. So when Trump came to power and he convinced his people that, hey, we gotta stop the benefits. We need to stop taking care of the migrants. We need to stop taking care of the homelessness. People need to work. People in the South are like, yeah, we need to vote for you. People need to work. We are working. We are doing our own thing. We don't rely on the government. Little did they know that in the United States, in the principle, in the reality, in the USA, areas with the least privilege, with the least jobs and opportunities, receive the most subsidies. So areas like in the South, because the economic in the South is very low, the federal government subsidizes everything from food to agriculture, which is the largest employer down there, manufacturing companies, factories, real estate. So everything is subsidized, but it has to come from the federal government because the state do not have enough revenue to sort of support the people. In California or Maryland or other states like New York, even states like Washington, they get the money from the state because states make so much money. They are richer, so it makes sense. They spend the money. So when the residents in those states complain, they are complaining on their own money. They are not complaining from the federal government. So when Trump came to power, in his goal, he cut the federal funding Okay, and remember, because this money goes to these poor states, they all lost funding, right? So they lost the money, they lost what they used to get. And just like that, they saw the hospitals shutting down, they saw parks shutting down, they saw schools shutting down, they saw a lot of things shutting down, a lot of things getting defunded, people quitting their jobs. And then they also, the government, the first thing Trump did, I mentioned this so many times, he fired federal workers. And these federal workers, they are here for a reason. Like I know the lady who used to work in the mental health department here in DC, she got laid off. So that means there's no workers in the mental health department. So if you live in DC or California, the state or city have some money, right? And that money can be used to help those people who are struggling. But if you live in, I don't know, down south, right, you will need the state that depends on the federal government no longer have money. So if an individual was being represented by somebody here in DC, that person is getting fired or laid off, excuse me, that person, that the mental health, the prisoners in those areas, they're not going to be supported. So people were surprised to see how interconnected and interdependent we are under the federal government. And actually, for the first time, people noticed how the federal government is like really depending on each other. So then they spend months, like some administrations spend months approving a federal approving a budget. I mentioned about this. I was part of a video back in July, but I was like kind of afraid to do it. But the budget was drafted in May, revised in June, and at the time in May, Elon Musk was still the head of Doge. Now Doge has disappeared. It's no longer in the public, but he was the head of Doge. So when they passed the budget, Elon Musk, a guy who was the head of Doge or Department of Government Efficiency, he did not approve the bill. He said that the bill was too large, it was too excessive, spending too much money. He wanted to have even more cuts. He wanted to cut even more money. That being said, when the budget was being ratified, ready to be passed, Elon Musk got really angry and he had to leave, and he became the enemy with Trump. They became really enemy to each other, so he has to leave. Then by June, July, the budget was drafted, was passed. So when the federal government passes the budget, people have to look into it, and they have to see which one was cut, which one was cut, because they have to make changes fast, right? If there is a food stamp supplier in a given community, they have to ensure that they can easily fire some staff, maybe hire new staff. Like they have to make changes like really fast. So, but the bill has to go through the Senate, then the Congress, and get approved. Then the president has to sign on it. One of the problems that he had was the healthcare subsidies. They are subsidizing the healthcare industry, and there are two ways to subsidize things. One way is to reduce the price, so pressure the manufacturer to reduce the price. Another way is to give money to the manufacturer to reduce the price, to cover the losses. So if the price of drug is, I don't know, $10, and the government pays 20% of that, the drugstores will charge $8, but they will get paid $10 when they get extra $2 paid by the government. That is called subsidies in economics, kind of sense. However, it's too expensive. Remember, the government of Donald Trump does not want to spend any more money. And unlike Kamala Harris, who she says she's going to pressure the corporations to stop price gouging, she couldn't do that. She was lying. It's not as easy as that. Um, Donald Trump does not want to spend even any money. Like he doesn't want to spend any penny, no penny, to the corporations. He doesn't want to give them anything at all. However, he was able to spend money on AI, so I was kind of surprised that AI is actually booming, and we're gonna see a big backlash because AI corporations are using AI and they're laying off workers. Then these workers, they are facing with prices from the drugstores, food prices, right? And 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 there are many more subsidies to come in. We have like Trump wants factories to come to the United States, right? Factory jobs wants to come to the United States from China. To do that, you need to subsidize everything because you subsidize car manufacturing, you need to subsidize factories, you need to subsidize agriculture. It's gonna subsidize everything. Even Apple, if Apple has to move to the United States, it's gonna have to subsidize these companies. Otherwise, they cannot survive here. It's too expensive. But anyways, Medicare became a big deal because people actually do die, right? People die in hospital. And when people get sick and they live in the poor neighborhoods where there's no access to bikes, no access to. I've lived in North Carolina. I've lived in so many states in this country, even Texas as well. People don't have walkways. Like we are privileged to have. I mean, like I live in a city, and I've lived in a city my whole time. We are privileged to live in a city where we can walk. We can just walk ride a bike, catch a bus, run. You may be angry for the bus to go fast, but that running, that exercise helps you out. Okay, it's getting darker. I'm gonna move to the close to the kitchen so that I can utilize the light. Anyway, so that means that the federal government, have to spend money to cover the cost of people who live in an area that does not have enough, that does not accommodate the unlivable environment. And that being said, like in the South, for example, not just in the South, but everywhere in the country, except big cities, you have neighborhoods that have zero walkway. Like they are built with roads and there's no pathway, and it's a key. People don't walk in this country, and when they don't, they get overweight. Last time I mentioned how when I was driving, when I came from California and I flew to North Carolina, the first thing I saw when I got off the plane was a lot of fat people. Okay, I'm being very honest. People are extremely fat, and this is not the usual fat. Okay, like there's no any country in this world that has fattest people like people in the United States. Okay, and these people, almost all of them live in the southern states. And when people are fat, that means they don't exercise, and that means also they eat unhealthy food, and that also means they live in a food desert. Food desert means in an area where there's not enough nutritious food, and these people, they cannot concentrate. I talk about this, about poverty converging. In the poor nations, countries cannot converge if people don't have enough nutrition, because when people don't have enough nutrition, they cannot concentrate in school, they cannot study, they don't have time to like this to exercise, go out there, speak, clear their mental health, right? When that happens, it creates a huge problem. There is an underproductivity. So you see slowly by slowly the area becoming poor and poor and poor, and then when you build an area that has better walkways, better neighborhoods, better food stores, right, the people move in. I made a video last time. Right across the street to my apartment, there's a new construction happening. They are building new apartments across the military base, and you notice that I filmed the map. You go check out the video. It's the longest video I've ever made. There's a map that actually shows that they are building two apartments facing each other. They are not apartments, they are actually townhouses, And if you don't know townhouses in America, there are two types of houses in America. There is um, family home houses, single family home houses. There is townhouses. There is also condo. So condo is an apartment. Townhouses, they're like apartments, but they're like houses. So you share with someone else, but it's still a home. So where I live right now, actually it's like a condo. So those are built across the street. I don't know how much they cost, but if you look at what I saw on the map of the development, they have two stores on each side, right, cross by. So they build an apartment, then they have a store coming up. I do real estate, and that's how we develop real estate in the city. Cities have the most educated people, and people are educated. They don't want to do much work. They just want to get nearby. So if I work in an office, the least thing I want is drive for 2 hours to buy food at the grocery stores, to buy food at PJ or some random store somewhere. I want to be close by, right? Because I'm spending more money already to live in an expensive place, paying more taxes. I better drive, not drive too far. So anyways, places like in some areas in the United States, they have food desert, which means they have stores that don't have enough food, enough nutrition. That also goes to having poor education system, because teachers in that area don't have enough mental health. They don't have enough exercise, so teachers in that area don't teach well their kids. This becomes like a recycle, right? And then they get sick, and they can go to the hospital because the hospital is too expensive or it's too far from the main area, and then they get overweight, they get sick, and then once the disease grows up, like diabetics, it gets bad and bad. By the time they go to the hospital, they get checked, it's already like ahead of time, and then they have to start medicine. And then after like a month or two, or maybe a year, they get a beautiful bill, right? A terrible bill to pay. I talk about like $50,000 plus. And then they realized they wish they have voted somebody who can approve Medicare. They wish they could have done that. They realized that then they start complaining, and somebody goes out there and they see advocates for them, thinks about them, because we have the data, right? I was talking about this earlier about Africa's data. We require data. When we have the data, we can advocate for somebody. I'm in DC, so I can easily say 10% of people in Austin experience food desert, right? If I have the data, it's easy to tell Donald Trump. If I meet him on Mar-a-Lago, somewhere in DC, like if I get invited somehow, I can say, hey, Trump, 10% of people, I was reading statistics and I found out that 10% of people in DC or Mar-a-Lago or somewhere further out, North Carolina experience food desert, right? That means like 1 in 10 children don't have food. Right? When you say that, it clicks in people's mind, and that relationship, that care, that trust is what makes politicians go out there and make policies. It's like robbing, right? Robbers spend time doing that their whole life. So, but if I don't know, if there is data, and somebody goes out there in DC, Washington DC, in the capital, and the advocates, but Trump comes in and he fires somebody like me from the government, and then fires these employees. Now there's no advocate for you. That's going to create a problem. That means there's not going to be. He can do whatever he wants. He can cut subsidies, can cut prices, and you'll never know. So that's what we see right now. And the Medicare has been like a huge debate. It's the reason why the government is shutting down for so long, for a long time, and it's now affecting not just the medical system, but it's affecting the economy. The economy of DC is crumbling, but they are building new highways, so it's pretty good. Like DC, because this is the beautiful part of the Democrats cities, is that they know that there can be anytime, there can be uncertainty at any time. So they have the budget to counter-interact any issues that they may come across. So they know that someday things are going to change. So a lot of citizens in the United States, they have prepared some form of support. Like in DC, they have food banks to help federal workers who are experiencing food insecurity, because federal workers, they are really they are starving, they don't have food, they can barely pay rent. It's not that easy. And we're talking about like both the Democrats and the Republican, regardless of the political power. When the government shuts down, regardless who's in the power, there has to be the both parties suffers immensely, like way bad. So here we are, 40 days, government shutting down, almost 4 days are kicking in. And if it opens, it's going to be the most blessings. If it doesn't, we look forward to 2026 of another suffer. But my hope is if it opens, we're going to see a ton of jobs opening up, a lot of opportunities opening up. And my hope is if it does open, there will be more money approved. Now, if they keep closing it, if they keep shutting down and they don't approve the federal funding, they will have to go back, right, and rechange. Like they have to go back and revise the bill, which is a lot of work. Nobody wants to do that. Like if you ever worked in finance, analyzing the real estate deals, analyzing financial analyst, accounting budgets, like it's a lot of spreadsheet, right? A lot of calculations. This is the budget. Like you are analyzing budget, and there's the pressure of not trying to pay you. Before, government workers used to relax. They could take their time and hire someone else to review something, like very bureaucratic. Now there's a normal bureaucratic. Like you can be one person doing multiple jobs at the same time. So if they have to review the budget, it's a lot of work, especially with people getting laid off. They don't want to do that. The Republicans don't want to do that. It's too much work. It's a lot of work. So because of that, they want to get it passed, but the Democrats have hold on. So that's why yesterday, like the day before, I saw Donald Trump having the drug manufacturers CEOs showing up in his office, White House, to discuss how they can subsidize or reduce drug manufacturing. So hopefully that will bring a little bit of hope, and I hope that will eventually motivate these Democrats and Republicans to come together and sort of pass the bill, and then we can move on. Things can reopen again. But other than that, just say that the federal government shutting down has been a blessing and also a curse. A blessing in the sense that there's no traffic because people don't drive anymore. The federal workers are staying home. Metro is empty, is operating almost empty. All the museums are shutting down because they all depends on the government. Tourism has been going down. Usually this month, there should be tourism. There should be people coming in to visit the Smithsonian museums, people visiting a lot of things. So it's going to be a very interesting time. Trump always says that, a very interesting time. Then we are heading to 2 weeks from now. It's going to be Thanksgiving, and for Thanksgiving we'll be entering into what is it, the Black Friday shopping, right? And that's November 27. Then we're gonna move on to December. Then December, of course, is preparing for Christmas. Then next year's one is a New Year celebrations. Then this is gonna be very snowing. So when it snows here, nothing much goes on. People really don't work as much. In fact, if I had a job if I did keep my job from May to this day, I would love to travel to my family or go somewhere else, California, or Uganda or Rwanda, somewhere in another country for the whole winter, because it gets really cold here. You will see, I'm making a video every single day, so it's gonna get really winter here. It's getting cold and brutal, right? So with the government opening up and coming up in upcoming holidays, okay, it might be a good thing because the people will be quitting or leaving. Then there's gonna be jobs opening, so they're gonna be hiring fast. I always keep an eye out. I'm always on LinkedIn, ensuring that I'm active. I need to cancel my LinkedIn membership tomorrow because I don't want to get charged any money for using LinkedIn. It's terrible app. Has never been any helpful. But anyways, that's all I have for today. And just know that if you're watching this video, government shutting down is affecting many people. People are going from working in finance to working bartender. There's already job losses already going on. Layoffs are already happening. So you have then there's no data for BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics. When there's no data for BLS, I mean other data too. It now like for example, the chair of Federal Reserve Bank, Paul Jerome, whatever they pronounce his name, he used Indeed Lab to announce about the job performance. They are using private companies' data to make decisions, right? This is the beauty of economists. People always think, why do we need economists? But they Indeed just had an economist. She was working for Richmond. I follow her on LinkedIn. She was working for Richmond Community College. She was working for Richmond Federal Reserve Bank, which covers Richmond, North Carolina, I believe, and North Carolina, Virginia, I believe, South Carolina. I think it's 3 places. And she was covering 2 Federal Reserve banks, and she was analyzing the community college system in those states. That's how I found her. I just followed her. She's amazing. I think she's from South Carolina, something like that. So she recently got hired by Indeed because I saw her posting on Indeed on LinkedIn that she got a job at Indeed to work in Indeed Lab. Indeed Lab is like a data employment rate data. So the data is accurate. That means she's doing a great job. I think she's a director, so she's doing a great job in ensuring that they even if the government is shutting down, we can still move on. This is what we need in Africa. We need the government to be efficient, but we also need private companies to be able to do a job whereby if the government becomes inefficient, we have another backup. Like for example, in other states, if there was to be a war conflict, so if there had to be a natural disasters, people have to flee. Private companies in America will jump in and do the job. Like Amazon can jump in and help a ton of people. In Africa, when people get in any situation, they immediately have to call for government help, right? This is why we need the government to be stronger, but also we need the people, private companies to be inspired, to be empowered, to jump in and help. Anyways, so it is what it is right now. It's just that what is it? As I speak right now, it's gonna be shutting down, and we're gonna have to wait until they decide. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna open up soon, especially in the holidays. Thanksgiving's coming up. Who's gonna go home to eat when the government is shutting down? When people don't have medicine, people don't have. Who's gonna go home to eat if there's no? What are they gonna eat if they don't have food stamp? Food stamp usually are used to give people some money, right? Some fundings to help them. So who's gonna eat? Who's gonna feed these people, right? We don't know. But what we do know is that as the government, the people actually asked Donald Trump to extend SNAP benefits, so they have to do so. That it has to go through the court. The court has to like hammer the government, like, because when at some point, I think it was in October, the benefit was cut off. So people are not getting food stamp, people are not getting medicine, Medicare, people are not getting any benefits. They're all cut off, and that affects a lot of people, and especially students, because some universities they don't feed their students. Imagine that these things are kind of stupid, right? Like, especially in the Republican Party, they think because they're the most uneducated people, of course. They're very uneducated. It's like the most uneducated party in the world. They have the highest uneducated people in the world. The Republican Party thinks that food stamps and benefits only benefits people who are having single moms, children, black people. But even students who are in schools, they cannot afford to feed their students. It's too expensive, so they have to rely on these sort of food stamps to help their students subsidize their food, right? So it's not just affecting, the people who are single moms, whatever they call them, or people live in cities, but it's also affecting the local high schools, the local middle schools, local charter schools, some churches that depends on the government. Like, it's a cycle. We are interconnected. It's a federal government. That's what it means. But I'm not surprised, because in the South they used to be Confederate people. They don't believe in federal. They believe in individual states. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. So anyways, that's all I have for today. Like always, thanks for watching. My battery is dying, so I got in this video. I will see you tomorrow. I will see back this camera tomorrow on Sunday. Today on Saturday, November 8th. Make sure you prepare for Thanksgiving. Always do what you love, do what you like, stay consistent, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Ciao ciao.